right, bitch. Stop now. I can see camera shot.
Hi there, can you see us okay?
Hey Chris, how are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Good.
Good, right.
I love y'all's accent, man.
Oh, thank you.
Everybody in America loves English accents.
Oh, brilliant. Don't get to speak to many English people then?
Huh?
Do you get to speak to many English people?
No. There's no foreign English people in Texas. They don't exist.
I can believe that. Right, I sent you a set of questions, and I've got a computing HND group behind me, as you can probably just about make out. So I don't know if you can just about see us all. First question, I've been looking at your blog. I mean, obviously, you don't do writing as your full-time job, do you?
No, not yet.
Yeah. So what is your full-time job at the moment?
So right now, I'm basically the director at an insurance company, so all complaints that come through, they roll through my group. Right. My wife has very expensive taste, so until writing takes over that salary, I'll be doing that for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I can understand
but
that.
It's fine. Imagine.
Yeah, no, that's good. So if you weren't writing, what do you think you'd be doing with your spare time that you currently have that you spend? I know from what I've read, you spend something like 14 hours a day, don't you? So you spend like 8 hours a day working, then the rest of the time writing. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of a workaholic, I think. So I work from about 3:30 to 4-ish to about 5:30 at night. So I'd probably just put it into my day job.
Yeah.
Okay. Just try to move up as fast as I can.
And would you say you're a technophobe or a technophile?
Definitely a technophile. My wife hates it because I'm constantly upgrading my phone as soon as the new one comes out.
Yeah, I've got the same problem. So, yeah.
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 She's like, you just got one 6 months ago. I'm like, stop talking. Let me get the phone.
That's why you're writing, isn't it? At the end of the day, to be able to pay for all the different shiny things that you like to buy. You know, that's the purpose of it. So, what mobile phone have you got at the moment?
I'm sorry?
What mobile phone are you using at the moment?
Right now, I've got the Nexus 6. They just Google just talked about the Nexus 6P.
Yeah.
Kind of getting itching to get it. Try to hold off.
Yeah.
I've been on Android for I've had the HTC One, the M8, the M9. Had the LG G32, but I just don't like their the skins they put over Android. I just like the pure Google type thing.
Yeah,
so
it slows it down too much.
It
slows it
what
down.
about you? What do you got?
I'm an iPhone person, I'm afraid. So
iPhone?
Yeah, I'm Apple.
And I use a Mac, right? So I'm talking to you on a Mac right now, but I prefer Apple to Microsoft every day of the week. But then the iPhone, I just can't make myself do it.
Really? Have you actually tried one though?
I had the first version.
Yeah.
And I had like the second version of them because I'm a technophile. So as soon as it came out, I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing that's good about it is it works, right? Like all these other phones, the G3, the shit just breaks eventually. But so I don't know. I don't know if I should curse on this. Yeah. But the iPhone works, and I am jealous of that.
Yeah. But you can do more with Android because you can play with it more and break bits more and add bits to it more. Is that really why you sort of stuck with Android?
Yeah. I mean, Google's got me, man. I mean, they got me with my mail. They got me with Hangouts. So it's like my calendar. I'm already in their ecosystem, and to change all that would be.
Yeah.
That was what they were trying to do in the beginning, right?
Well, exactly. I mean, it's the problem I've got now with Apple. You know, everything I do is Apple related. So I've spent so much money on my apps and things like that. I wouldn't go to Android because I'd have to pay for it all again. So I mean, I don't know if you had a chance to see some of their car technologies, either of the two companies. Obviously, Google has their Google car technologies, which allows you to use an Android phone in the car as your main entertainment system. Obviously, Apple. Would you actually choose your car based on your make of mobile phone, do you think? Would it be a consideration you'd make?
Well, yeah, it'd have to be, right?
Yeah. So you would be happy with just the car's normal entertainment system. You think, you know, if one did Google and one did Apple, you'd go for the Google car-based one rather than the Apple one, do you think?
Yeah, I would have to. I mean, I'm such a technical. My wife would be like, I don't care. I'll just listen to a CD.
Yeah.
It's in the '90s, but for me, I'd have to use it, right?
Yeah. Well,
Like, yeah.
so do you use?
They really got. I didn't realize how much they had until you just asked that question. Use my car.
Yeah.
They tells me to do.
And of course, when it gets to the point where we've got to choose our houses based on that as well, whether we're going to go with HomeKit with Apple or we're going to go with a Google technology, is that going to be something that then is going to come into the equation as well?
I got to draw the line for me.
Yeah.
I got to draw the line.
Do you write? Yeah, sorry. Do you write on a computer? Do you use a computer to write on? I take it you do. You don't write. You don't handwrite. What computer platform do you use then at home? Is that a Mac as well?
Yeah, I use a Mac, and I use it's called Scrivener. Have y'all ever heard of that?
Yeah, I've got.
Yeah,
Scrivener.
so I use Scrivener. It's excellent. The ability to you can switch through chapters real fast to give notes on the chapters, so you remember when things are. Because as the story naturally progresses, you're going to find the plot changes from where you wanted it to go. So you have to go back and make edits, and it's really easy to do that through Scrivener.
And of course, the characters have backgrounds as well that you can put in Scrivener, don't they? So you can actually make loads of notes about the characters as well.
Yeah.
How long does it take you, do you think, to write one of your books?
So with my current kind of process and working full time, I put out a book once every 2 months.
Wow.
So that's where I'm at. But if I were to not work full time, I mean, I could probably put 2 books out a month.
Good Lord. And and that's where I finish it, because you're obviously a better person than me. No. So with the Singularity Series, did you conceive that as a sort of one entire story before you started writing and then separated them into books? Or did you think about each book separately?
Yeah, so the way that publishing works right now, it forces you to do series, because that's the only way to make money. When I first started writing, I'm a big Stephen King fan. He's probably the most influential writer on me. I wanted to write massive books like It and things that he wrote. However, and that's what I started doing, but I wasn't making any money. So I had to figure out what to do, and you do it by cliffhangers on every single book. So when I start a book, I always know the beginning, and I usually know the end. But the middle, I have no idea what's going to happen. So I plan out the first book.
Yeah.
I don't think about anything else in the future. I get through the first book, then I go to the second. I plot that one out. I just keep moving through it like that. It might not be the smartest way, but I think it would be smarter if I planned all of them out, but nobody's got time for that.
No.
I hate plotting. So.
Yeah. Are you a science fiction fan at all? Or are you more a horror fan, would you say?
Yeah. I mean, Ender's Game. Have y'all read that, anybody?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
That's a top 5 all time for me. I like good stories, and it doesn't really matter to me if it's horror or science fiction or thriller. Like James Patterson, I won't read him. I hate him, right? Absolutely hate him. But supposedly he's he sells more thriller books than anybody else alive. So I haven't read a lot of the classics and started. I hate when I say this. Please don't take this the wrong way. I don't agree with this at all. Like when people compare me to King, I don't agree with it at all. And people are starting to compare me to Asimov and Heinlein, and so I've never read them. So I'm starting to go back and read some of the classics to see what they're talking about.
Yeah, I mean the Asimov series are always very good. The Foundation and things like that. There's certain elements I think in the Singularity series that you've got in that sort of appear in Foundation. Not totally. There's not. There is a slight crossover actually on that. Going back to you styled your books and you bring them into sort of, if you like, almost a chapter by chapter fashion with each book. Obviously you found that was the best way of actually making money. So is this the way that you sort of stumbled upon this? Give the first book away for free, and then see if you can make money on the future books that come through in the series.
Yeah, man, it's like crack, right? Like, you want to give away the drug up front, And if it's a good drug, they're going to come back. So I give away the first book because that gets you in my funnel. Then I'll give away another book if you give me your email address. And once I get your email address, you're on my platform. I don't have to deal with Amazon. I don't have to deal with Facebook, Twitter, none of that. You're on my platform. So my book's $4.99 and I make $3 or $4. I'll give away $4 to get your name so that I can continue to try to sell you crack.
That sounds good, yeah. So it's kind of like what Facebook do anyway with your personal data, but you're just not doing it for adverts, you're doing it for yourself. That's fair enough, How did you research your story for the Singularity Series?
Yeah, this was the hardest question because I don't do any research at all. Let me just say that up front. What I do is it's always around a question, I think. And science fiction allows me to create anything I want around that question as long as it falls in with the rules of my story. So there were no research at all outside of watching and reading science fiction books and movies. I think my editor helps me a lot. He's got a military background. So I think in one part of the story when they're killing the named, fires coming down from the sky, right? And originally I just had it that fire was just showing up and there was nothing there to create. It was just there. And my editor was like, no, man, that's impossible. You can't do that. So he gave me, I forget what I put in there. I write so much, but it's something like nanobots or something that actually creates the fire.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. So that was him, his input. He does that all the time with anything military where I just fuck it up completely.
Right, obviously I'm looking at my questions here I've got here as well. I said in one of my questions about the concepts of the Book of the Assistants. I said, can you describe their relationship in regard to both the humans and the main construct? What was your thought process when you were sort of coming up with this? Were you looking at the sort of series and Cortanas that we have in the modern day and how they could actually evolve? Was that part of what you were looking at?
Yeah, without a doubt. I don't specifically remember thinking about Siri and Google Now and all that, but without a doubt, I mean, that's clearly where we're trying to go. So that Google or Siri or Cortana will know everything we need before we need it. Do you hear that?
Yeah, that's Google Now.
Whenever I say "Okay, Google," it just comes on and starts asking. You see what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So that was a big piece of it, because that's the world we live in now. And there's definitely science fiction story. I think iRobot, the way their robots were kind of built, influenced it some. But yeah, I mean, I clearly didn't come up on my own.
Do you feel that the big corporates have far too much power over what we are actually giving them in terms of the information we're giving them on our mobile phones and things through these assistants? Because I know that you make the distinction, the assistants are kind of self-contained. They can choose what they then give to the main construct. Obviously, this environment we're currently in, things like Google Now, Siri, they're giving all their information to the mothership, if you like, so that the mothership knows absolutely everything about us. Does that sort of level of lack of privacy scare you in some ways?
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt, I'm very, very fearful of it. I don't trust governments or corporations at all. So, however, man, I mean, it's like a drug addict, right? Like, I want the convenience. I want to be able to ask it a question. It tell me how tall, I don't know, Kobe Bryant is, right? So we're kind of like, I'm selling my soul to know how tall Kobe Bryant is immediately. And when you put it like that, that's frightening, without a doubt, because the one thing that makes me trust corporations more than governments is that corporations are trying to make some money, right?
Yeah.
They want to get paid. So when a corporation begins to hurt their consumers or not give consumers value, eventually that will fade away.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping money will drive these guys not to, I don't know, sell me to some kind of genetic programming or something. I don't know.
Not this week.
But yeah, it's terrifying. What about you? Are you scared about it?
Yes, no. I mean, I'm not very paranoid person. I mean, obviously the UK is a very different society, I think, to what you have over there in the US. I mean, we have CCTV cameras all over the place, constantly watching everything we do.
No way. Are you serious?
Yeah. I mean, we're in a small market town called Grantham in Lincolnshire, really rural area. We have lots of farms surrounding us and things like that. Down our high street, there must be about 50 to 60 cameras that will actually be taking every detail about where we are, what we're doing all the time. So we've, if you like, have grown up in a very different environment to the Americans in what we actually expect.
That's like Orwell, man.
Yeah, oh, very much so, yeah. Yeah, we're as close to 1984 as you can get probably here. And at the same time, we're also giving a lot of information to American corporations, obviously the Googles, the Apples, and they don't save our data in the same way as we do over here. We have something called the Data Protection Act. So anything that a UK company saves on a person, they cannot use for any other purpose than what they've told that person they're going to use it for. But that doesn't count if that company's American. So when you go to something like Facebook and you say, this is all my private data, if they're a British company, they could not do anything with it, they could not make any money from it. But being American, they can then sell it to the highest bidder for their adverts and things. So I think we kind of lost our privacy a long time ago. And some of the studies and things that I've been involved with, things like magic tricks that involve Facebook, where you have a person that's apparently a magician in the middle of the street, and they'll start talking to the person, they'll get a little bit of information from them, and then they prove that they're psychic, and they'll be able to tell you who you went on holiday with, or what your bank number is, and things like that. And all they're actually doing is they've got a little earpiece, and they're feeding all that information to Facebook, and looking it up, or have someone looking it up for them while they're talking to them. And the amount of information we share is pretty scary. But in some respects, as long as you've not got anything much to hide, maybe it's not too much of an issue. There's a guy I mentioned, I don't know if you know the author Cory Doctorow. Have you heard of him?
No.
No. He's a member actually of the Electronic Freedom Frontier Foundation, the EFF. So they're the guys who actually are very interested in privacy and things like that as well. But he's also a bit of an anarchist, and he decides to give away all his books for free in the hope that people would buy the paperback versions. And he finds he has to do a day job of being a journalist. Now, obviously, the field of journalism's changing in a big way over the last few weeks with the talk of all these ad blockers and things like that. What's your view on the sort of getting something for nothing for adverts that we have currently on the internet?
Yeah, I've been thinking about that a lot because everybody's freaking out, right?
Yeah.
So I was thinking this morning about it, and you used to get a lot of direct mail marketing, right?
Yeah.
You get people that write you letters, and you'd have to send them something, and then you'd meet up, and I don't know. I never did it. But when email came around, that ruined that business. The business is done. And I feel like this is going to be the same. As a consumer, I love it.
Yeah.
There's nothing more annoying than loading up a web page and having, especially on my phone, having multiple things pop up and have to find an X to hit and all that nonsense. So it's going to make marketers have to be better. They're going to have to find different ways to show that their product will benefit somebody, which I like. I think it's going to have to make content providers provide better content, so the clickbait and then the shit, God, where you've got to swipe through 15 pages to see something, like I cannot stand that. I just X that. I don't care if I want to read it. I just X it out. I'm not doing it. It's going to change that, which I think is good. I mean, I think it's consumers want it, and just because marketers doesn't.
So
they need to adapt.
So would you personally be willing to pay for an internet if it meant no adverts? So do you take out any subscription services already, for example, like New York Times?
Yeah, I pay for. I don't pay for New York Times, but I pay for the Harvard Business Review. Yeah, I would. You know, I pay for Google Music, right? Because I'm not a pirate. Like, I don't use piracy because I'm an artist as well. Yeah, without a doubt, if it was something I need, I just signed up yesterday for something actually, $8 a month. So yeah.
Right, yeah. I mean, in terms of my class, would any of you guys be willing to use the internet still if you had to pay for it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
If it meant no adverts, especially.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah. So there's a consensus anyway. Because I don't know, I'm kind of in the cusp generation, I suppose, where you get I mean, I was there when the internet started, as I guess you were too, in terms of being part of popular culture, and you get used to everything being for free. And again, I've not ever been involved in anything like piracy because I was a software developer before I was a teacher, and so therefore I have one of my own programs pirated. I know what it's like to be on the receiving end of things like that. There's that difficulty, and again, in America, all your TV stations you pay for, don't you, in terms of you have cable subscriptions and things like that.
Yep.
Whereas in the UK, it's a bit of a different system. We have a TV license that we have to pay that gives us BBC channels, but then we have TV channels which are free and they're advert based. So just like you have adverts obviously on all your channels, we only have adverts on 3 out of our 5 channels that we have as terrestrial channels.
Oh wow.
And it's those adverts that are paying for those channels, so we don't actually have to pay any money to be subscribed to those channels, if you like, and they can then extend to have extra channels themselves. And they go through that sort of advert model. So again, we've been brought up very much on a model where we have to consume the adverts in order to get the free content. And I think it's something that is definitely a tide turning over here as well with the younger generation, that they are now more willing to actually pay for things because they are. I mean, how many of you have got things like a Netflix account? How many of you have got like a Google, Google Music and things like that? Yeah, Spotify as well. Yeah, so they're getting more and more used to actually paying for things as time goes on, I think. So fingers crossed that should be the way forward, I think.
I mean, I'm really hoping Netflix. I think Netflix is in a really, really tough spot. They're moving in the right direction of becoming content creators instead of the middlemen from the producers to the end consumer. But if they continue to create content like House of Cards, things like that, they're going to really be able to push the producers away. And I don't even have cable anymore. I just cut it off because it's $150 a month for shit I don't even like or watch. But Netflix allows me to pick what I want. So I think it's a good model. I hope it survives. I really do.
Could you see a model like that working for like authors and publishers? I mean, are you involved in the Kindle lending library?
Yeah. So with some of my books. So Amazon wants you they're trying to trap the market, right? They want all indie publishers to only go with them. Long term, that's not a smart career move. So the majority of my books are on all platforms because I'm very, very grateful for any fan I get. And some of the worst, like when I have a book in Kindle Select and a fan writes me, I can't get it on Apple. That bothers me, right? Because I do want to be there when my customer wants me on whatever platform they want me. But at the same time, I mean, I'm very big into trying things. So they have Kindle Library or Kindle Lending Library, and now they have Kindle Unlimited, and they just changed the payout system on that. So I put a couple books in to see if it would, what kind of revenue I could get on it.
How's it working out? Do you think it's a good model? Do you think it's a working model? Or not at the moment?
Yeah, so the Kindle Lending Library, or not the library, Unlimited is the way the books are going to go. And the way that I think it will go is that you pay for the pages you read, not the book. So if you don't like the book, you don't have to pay any more for it.
Yeah.
And then we'll get paid, the authors will get paid on the pages you read as well. So that'll reward people that are creating good content, and it'll allow people to not pay for things they don't want.
Fantastic. That's not a bad idea at all. Yeah, that's very good.
Yeah, I think, but at the same time, you're going to see a drop in prices for books. So right now, I think this month, Kindle gave us 0.0052 cents per page read, American cents. So you've got to have 1,700 pages read to get $10.
Yeah.
So it's not there are pros and cons.
Yeah. I must admit, I've actually got 2 books in the Amazon library myself, and I get maybe $1 or $2 worth of payments every couple of months or so. But I don't have it in the Kindle Unlimited. I've only got it as pay for books, and they then set the prices. Which I thought, they're not books that are ever going to be ever popular or even read by more than like 10, 15 people. So the fact that I can make any money at all out of it, I think is a really good thing. But I can see a time when we're getting to a stage similar to how YouTube is kind of taking over TV, where a lot of people of a certain generation now are watching more YouTube videos than they are watching TV, and the YouTube stars are the people that they want to see. They're the people that they see as their idols. And I've got 2 kids of my own, and one of them is 13, and all the Minecraft YouTubers are the ones he absolutely idolises, and we have to go to all the things to get them to sign the autographs and things like that. So I see that same sort of thing happening in sort of publishing, whereas at the moment you've got just a select group of authors who are world-renowned and famous and things like that, and you're going to move more to having like niche markets and things where people are known within their own niches more, and they are making more money through that methodology. But it's a much more open environment possibly than what we currently have when we're sort of beholden to publishers, etc. I think that's probably the model. So what story are you working on at the moment?
First, I never thought I was old. I never thought I would get old. But when you say that people, like kids now, are YouTube's what they watch, and those are the people that I love, I'm like, God damn it, how did this happen? How am I old?
I know. I go through I go through like an existential crisis every year. On my birthday, that's it. I'm just too old now to carry on.
I'm working on a series. It's called Nemesis.
Yeah.
It's going to be 6 books. I'm on the 5th. The second one just got published. So I'm way ahead of my publishing schedule. So it'll be finished probably in 6 months. It'll all be out. And the next one I'm going to write that I'm really excited about, but it's going to go away from science fiction and more horror, is going to be about a serial killer, with kind of the underlying premise, I think, is really going to try to speak towards addiction. Right. So I'm pretty excited. I'm always really excited about books before I write them, and then I write them and I'm like, this sucks.
Yeah.
Why didn't I do this?
You just get too bogged down in the detail and just want to move on to the next one.
It just never hit the vision that I had. But I think that's good. I mean, if you think that you're killing it every day, you're probably not critical enough.
Yeah, no, that's very true. Fantastic. Well, thank you ever so much for joining us and talking to us.
Well, tell me about you guys a little bit. What do y'all do?
What do we do? I teach IT, as you might gather. I teach software more than anything else. I was a software developer for too many years and worked for a lot of small companies, and spent a year at Microsoft as a consultant. So I'm like you, like writing books. I do the same sort of thing but with programs. So I'm constantly writing programs that I enjoy. All these guys have finished the equivalent of normal schooling, if you like, and they're moving on to sort of the equivalent of university colleges. We're a very small college here. There's only about 1,000 people or so, and this particular class is made up of 12 people. They only have to come in 2 days a week, which is quite nice, and they're learning sort of skills that they might need to become software developers and things in the future. And they're all very quiet.
That's awesome. Yeah.
They don't like talking. Yeah. This is the first sort of video talk I've done with a group. I did with a different group. I did an audio conversation with someone from MIT's library, and they are responsible for making sure all the different computer games over the past can still be playable, so that we've got like a historical record of computer games. And it was a very, very stilted conversation, unlike this one, that was very much along the lines of, have you guys got any questions or anything?
I do.
Oh, Declan's got a question though for you. Declan.
George R. R. Martin is arguably one of the most popular fantasy writers at the moment, but his origins are founded in sci-fi. Would you say he's influenced you in any way, or have you read any of his books and enjoyed them?
So when people talk about Game of Thrones, the show, I say George Martin is it's like watching the Sistine. I'm messing that up because I'm on point. Sistine Chapel being painted, right? You're watching a master do his craft in a way that I'm not sure anybody else has ever done it, and I'm just blown away by him. And he's definitely influenced me in his point of view, the way that he writes each chapter. I do that as well. I really stick to a pretty strict point of view. But I mean, the man's a god. Like, I've never read anybody what he's doing. But yeah, great question. I didn't know the sci-fi roots.
Pardon?
I didn't know the sci-fi roots.
Yeah, he didn't know the sci-fi roots.
Yeah, he started originally writing some sci-fi books. The names of them escape me. But he's now taking a slight break and has gone back to those roots and started writing more books. He grew a small fan base from them, but that really exploded when he got the deal for his Game of Thrones books, which really weren't that popular. They did get noted on the New York Times books list, but when Game of Thrones came out, that's when he really took off as an author. But he's hoping to find a bigger following in the sci-fi genre, I think.
Yeah, if you'll email me some of those, I'd love to read them.
Sure thing.
Anyone else got any questions at all? You're all quiet as mice in here. Oh, brilliant.
Enjoy college, man.
Yeah.
Life is coming.
I know. It only gets downhill from here on in,
it's
doesn't
not
it?
fun.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you ever so much for all your time. I know it's early in the morning over there.
Thanks,
Thank you.
I hope I didn't bore you too bad.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Thank you ever so much. Yeah, take care and have a good day at work. See you later. There we go.
Well.